everyone, welcome to Dublin here on Friday night. Rich Hagan alongside Inside R&D, it's Ian Duke, and from the floor, Gabby Sparks, how are you?
Good.
Great to have you here. So, in our end step, we're going to walk you through the card of the day, the match of the day, the team of the day. BDM will interview the player of the day, and we will bring you, if that last match ever finishes, the final standings here on day one. So why don't we open things up with cards, and we've chosen an Aether Revolt card. It's gold. It's one of the signpost cards in the set. Gabby, what's your take on the Winding Constrictor in play today?
It's been an all-star, completely. The card already had very good stats, and then it's just been jammed into every possible deck it could have been jammed into. So black-green, Jund, anything that benefits from counters, it's just had a breakout performance.
In gold cards, by their nature, you get to what we call push them a little. You want them to be better than their equivalent, let's say one and a green or one and a black. Winding Constrictor clearly is. Are you surprised at how effortlessly so many players have managed to get to go either Swamp Forest or Forest Swamp on turn 2, and here's my Winding Constrictor, and off we go to the races?
Yeah, well, often we get to give you a little bit extra as sort of an incentive for playing that color combination, but Winding Constrictor has even more going on in the sense that not only is it a multicolor card where you need to be playing at least those two colors, but you also need to be playing the synergies to take advantage of it. In this case, +1/+1 counters and also energy. And for me, Winding Constrictor sort of represents that whole package of cards that goes along with it. Often things like Rishkar or Walking Ballista. But even as I had the pleasure of doing a deck tech earlier with Simon Nielsen, he was using Winding Constrictor alongside all sorts of energy cards as well, like Long Tusk Cub, Harness Lightning, and so on and so forth.
And Gabby, also not just in Constructed, where we kind of knew ahead of time it was going to be a big player, but it also showed up everywhere in really good winning limited deck lists.
Yeah, when we were actually at the Channel Fireball Fire testing group, there was just a discussion going around about where it was actually better, because Winding Constrictor is just such a good card overall that it wasn't necessarily true that it was better in limited than in constructed. It was just an all-star.
Yeah, so no doubt about it, our card of the day here on day one is Winding Constrictor. Now, as for a match, well, we've actually a pretty lot of candidates because we had some really good stuff down in the feature match area, both in limited and constructed. In the end, where did you fall down in on what was our match of the day?
For me, match of the day has to be Brad Nelson versus Joel Larson in limited. I believe this was round 2 of limited down there. I was in the booth, and kicking things off was just one of the most amazing games that we saw all morning, which was Joel Larson getting off to a very, very fast start with his black-red aggressive deck against Brad Nelson's blue-red improvised deck, and Brad was very much in the back foot. He had to use a removal spell on a 2/1 creature, for example, just really struggling to survive, and in the end, Brad was able to stabilize at just 1 life. Through the use of Release the Gremlins, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was really the key card there where, Marshall and I were really racking our brains for well, how can Brad get out of this? I can't think of a single card in the format that could pull him out of this. But sure enough, there it was, Release the Gremlins, taking out 2 key artifacts on Joel's side of the battlefield, making 2 gremlins, 2/2 gremlins for Brad, and that was really the key turning point in that match. Brad went on to win that game.
And Gabby, I love it when I'm listening to the magic from down on the floor and I hear something that's really straightforward that shows why something's happening, not just that something's happening. And when they were saying, not quite sure how he can pull out of it, and they're looking for a card. And then once the dust had settled on that Release the Gremlins, I think it was you, Ian, who actually said, so that was basically a 4-for-1 right there. And anytime you 4-for-1 anyone, Gabby, that's just fantastic.
Well, the thing that was really cool about that match in particular is that even through the Release of Gremlins, Brad is at 1. He's so close to just dying at any point right here. It was also after that happened, he gets a 2-for-1 with a shock. He tries to go all in on a Defiant Salvager, sacrificing one of his other artifacts, and Brad gets to shock it, and then eventually he gets to win the match. So he was still just barely holding on through that, even through the Release of Gremlins.
And that's where you see someone like Brad Nelson, the difference between maybe a 4-4 performance and barely being in day 2, as opposed to, oh look, it turns out I'm at 7-1 and I'm ahead of the curve for a top 8, because on moments like that, that's where your tournament can turn. Our match of the day, go check it out. It's available right now. Round 2, Brad Nelson against Joel Larson. So what about teams? Well, for this, we should take a look at our lovely team logos and our fantastic teams. They put in a lot of effort to look great for us. And Team Channel Fireball Ice didn't just look the part, they walked the walk. Here they are. There you see Eric Froelich, Ben Stark, we've just heard from, Andre Strasky, Joe Larson, Paulavita Dama de Rosa, and Mike Sigrist. Now, they were coming into the last round several match wins ahead of the field. It's possible that they had a hideous round 8 and that someone else crept up on them. But Gabby, they really set the pace throughout the day.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those teams that people were looking out for going into the Pro Tour because it just seems like such a powerhouse, and then they actually just did fantastic.
So, how did you think teams went on day 1, Ian? As a thing.
The team structure in general.
Yeah, the team series.
I thought it was awesome. I had the opportunity to chat with a bunch of players. It seemed universally just loved as a system by the players. Finally getting to formalize what is such an important part of Magic already is getting to, travel the world, play with your friends, build up that camaraderie, get into play testing with each other, and now actually having those results, reflect the group as a whole. It just seems wonderful for everyone involved.
And Gabby, you're right in the heart of the action in the feature match area round after round. As we sort of winnow the field, and maybe there aren't 6 people still playing from each team, we're going to really see the cheerleading sections coming to the fore, particularly tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely sit with a variety of teams too. For example, even though they weren't the team of the day, MTG bent card. I was catching up with Christian Calcano, and they were so excited about how they did in the limited portion. And they felt going into the Pro Tour that they really knew what they were doing in limited, and then they crushed it. Their team went, 6 people went 3-0, 6 people went 2-1, 2 people went 1-2, and 2 of those losses were within the team.
Right, so fully half of the 12 from Mint and Bent went 3-0 in draft. That's nuts, because we all thought, honestly, that this was a bit of an unusual draft format that the pros hadn't yet got a handle on. A lot of players came in and saying, how do we do this? We don't really get where we want to be. We don't have a plan for how to go 3-0.
Yeah, and specifically, I was also chatting with Ben Hayes, who's chatting with Christian Calcano and some of those other members of the Team Mint Card, Team Bent Card conglomerate there. And from what I heard, their strategy was stay open. What they learned about the format and their testing was really any combination of colors can work, and any strategy or synergy can work, and the key is being the only person at the table that's in that combination.
Inside R&D, doesn't that make you feel all warm inside?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the grail right there. If you can literally just, as long as you can navigate to the right place, there is a home for everything.
Yep.
That's wonderful.
And I will stress that was a fairly unique take on the format. Other teams I talked to said the format's especially aggressive. You really want to be in these aggressive red decks or red-green beatdown and so on. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot of sort of dissenting philosophy among the different teams, and in particular hearing a team say, the best thing to do is just stay open and do whatever is available to you in your seat. I mean, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. All right, well, we get to see that in action tomorrow. We'll see how many players can keep themselves open and replicate the success of Mint and Bent. No doubt about it, though, our team of the day is Team Channel Fireball Ice. What about a player of the day? Now, we want to be very clear. It turns out that on the coverage team, the number of people who speak Chinese fluently is precisely 0. And so, congratulations to one of our 2 players of the day, Lu Chen Yu, who from China has gone 8-0. We haven't been able to interview him. We hope to do something about that tomorrow for you. We'll see what we can do, see whether he's got a little bit of English in there for us. But remember that he is 8-0, alongside our other player of the day, who we are going to interview now. Here's Brian David Marshall with Panama's Saazhar Segovia.
We've talked a lot about the team series here, but Saazhar Segovia is here from a different team series, the World Magic Cup. Top 8 that event alongside his captain, Sal Alvarado, the national champion from Panama. And Saazhar, you were playing in your first Pro Tour, and then at the last minute, you did what you're not supposed to do. You changed decks and you just built your own deck at the last minute. What was going on in your head? How did you come to this decision to create this red-black aggro deck?
¿Por qué escogiste ese deck al final? ¿Por qué hiciste ese cambio al último momento? Que es pecado cambiar de deck.
Ok, me di cuenta que el deck que traía, que era el verde-negro, no era suficientemente agresivo contra combo. Y estaba esperando un deck de combo y verde-negro. Y el deck rojo-negro metía tanta presión y toda la remoción que tiene el deck sirve para contrarrestar el combo.
Okay. He was bringing green-black, but it was not aggressive enough. And sometimes he lost against Jeskai combo. So he decided to build a deck around that strategy, being aggressive, every removal spell foils the combo, and that's why he decided to play that.
You guys were playing the Jeskai combo deck that was beating him up all the time, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of your fault that he's 8-0.
Yes.
Now, what has this experience been like? You know, you've been so calm and so level-headed as you play. What advice would you have for players coming to play in their first Pro Tour who might look to you for guidance now as you've done so well here at your first attempt at this?
Sé que te ves tan calmado y relajado, pues ¿qué consejo le puedes dar a cualquier jugador novato que se te acerque, como quedaste tan bien, para pedirte consejos? ¿Qué le podrías decir?
Que se diviertan, que disfruten el juego y que traten de jugar bien. O sea, un juego es diversión.
Do your best and primarily have fun. Enjoy the game.
And you're having fun?
Tal vez no parezca, pero claro que sí.
Maybe he looks a little bit nervous sometimes, but he's having fun.
Okay. Now, I know players in Panama are very excited. They've been very excited to hear from you. You have a message for some players at home that you want to share with back in Panama?
Bueno, queremos dar un saludo a la gente de Arcan, que en Panama City, que deben estarlo viendo, y en Valkyria Hobby, en Chiriquí. Saludos.
Okay, saying hi to different local stores and hi to everybody in Panama.
All right, Panama. We'll be back tomorrow with some more action. Saazhar Segovia, Sal Alvarado, both of these guys will be in action tomorrow as well. Good luck and sending it back to Rich Hagon at the news desk.
Thanks very much to Saazhar Segovia, and a reminder that Yu Chen Liu is our other 8-0 player. They'll be back tomorrow. Why don't we take a look at our final standings at the end of day one? We have our two undefeated players, Saazhar Segovia and Yu Chen Liu. The rest of what should be pod 1 in the morning, Yan Cassander, Tien Nguyen, Ben Stark, Ben Rubin, number 6 in the top 25, Lucas Blahan, and Kelvin Chu at 7-1. Then up table 2, you've got the likes of Yamamoto, Yuza, Triantifalu, Sam Tharmaratnam, Ken Yukihiro, Donald Smith, Felipe Valdivia of Chile, and Daniel Grafensteiner of Germany on 6-1-1. Many great names behind them, but that is the state of play here as we head towards day 2. Ian, what are you looking forward to out of day 2 of Pro Tour Aether Revolt?
Honestly, just more standard. There's so many new powerful cards in Aether Revolt, so many new strategies. Will the copycat decks rise to the top, or will they get pressed down by the Mardu vehicle decks and the walking ballistas of the world? There's just so much to learn tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it.
Gabby, how about you?
Similar too. I'm actually really curious to see where the archetypes kind of fall, because I feel like going into this Pro Tour, people were so, expecting that Felidar Guardian Saheeli Rai was going to be the biggest thing. And now we're just seeing a lot of vehicles. We're seeing a lot of Unwinding Constrictor. Yeah, and a lot of other variants of other decks too. And, we get a very a zoomed in version of what standard looks like in the feature match area, because we're picking the feature matches, right? But seeing where the archetypes actually fall and how popular they were, I think that'll be really interesting.
Yeah, seeing the metagame breakdown for day 1 to day 2 conversion would be really interesting.
Fantastic stuff. Well, all that's still to come. Tomorrow, we open up more Aether Revolt boosters, and we have a great time guaranteed. 8 rounds are done, 8 more to come. The team series is underway. Don't you dare miss a thing as the weekend goes into high gear tomorrow. For everyone here, Gabby, Ian, Rich Hagan saying see you tomorrow.